Hey y'all, welcome back to my modern homestead. My name is Janet and I'm so glad you're here today. Today, are you ready for another Ode to Ireland recipe? Well, today I'm going to bring to you Coddle. Now this is a recipe that mostly takes place in your oven. There are a few little ingredients that we'll get ready on the stove, and here are some of the ingredients. It looks like a lot and it is a lot of ingredients, but this is a very simple recipe. Now, tradition or lore has it that wives would cook this because it was easy to leave in the oven and would stay warm, and it's not a delicate recipe that would all turn to mush in the oven, but they could leave it in the oven to stay warm so that when their husbands came home from the pub, supper was warm and waiting on them. I don't know how true that is. I tend to believe that back in the day, life was tougher back then. It might have been simpler, but tougher. Everybody was in the fields working. The mom was in the house doing what moms do. And I just think it was something easy she could just throw in the oven. But who am I? I don't know. So anyway, the first thing I need to do is wash the potatoes and chop up the onions. We're going to slice those just like we did for the bangers and mash, if you saw that recipe yesterday. So let's get started, and while I work on this recipe in just a minute getting the ingredients ready, I'll talk to you a little bit about why St. Patrick's Day. Let's go. Okay, real quick before we get to work on any of the ingredients, let's go over what we actually need. To do this recipe, we'll need 8 slices of thick bacon cut into small pieces. I'm probably just going to cook it. That's not a traditional ingredient, but you know, you gotta have some leeway. So that is actually in this recipe. And then we're going to need 1 pound of sausages, preferably Irish sausages. Then we need 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, 1 bottle of Guinness beer, 2 pounds of potatoes. Now, these are Yukon Golds. I am not going to peel these. I actually prefer my skins on. So we're going to leave those just as they are, but we will cut them into bite-sized pieces. Then we need 2 large onions cut into slices. Then we're going to take 4 loaves of garlic and mince them up finely. Then we're going to chop up some fresh parsley. We'll need 4 tablespoons of that. Then I actually have a bay leaf tree, but if you don't, use dried bay leaves. We'll need 3 of those. Then we need some dried thyme and some black pepper. I'm just going to use regular old ground black pepper. I didn't get that out. And then we need 2 cups of broth. I'm using beef broth, but you can use ham or chicken broth. So let's get our onions sliced up. Okay, while I slice the onions, let's talk about St. Patrick. St. Patrick, I think it was in 400 or 580. Oh goodness, forgive my history, I can't remember, but way back then. He was captured at 16 years of age and taken to Ireland. He was born in, he was a British citizen, and he was taken to Ireland as a slave, a 16-year-old slave. Well, eventually, he made his way back to Britain, but he went back to Ireland as a missionary. I guess that's what you would call him. And you might say, well, what's the shamrock got to do with all of that? Well, lore has it that when he went to Ireland, he used the shamrock to teach Christianity to the Celtic people. The leaves represented God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. And he used the shamrock to explain that. Well, why 4 leaf clovers? Well, they say that the 3 that represent the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, that's still the same, but the 4th one would represent luck. Now, I'm not quite sure where that started, maybe in America, but in Ireland, St. Patrick's Day is treated as a religious holiday. It's not celebrated with all the funnery that you associate with here in America. that became an American thing. So we've got our onions all done. There are our onions. Oh, that's just one onion. I've got one more, and then we'll get busy on the rest. I do remember in some of my reading that when the Irish came to America, in the beginning they were not liked. They were treated poorly and talked about poorly. But then, as in all things, politics took over, and people realized what power there was in that big number of people as far as politics. So then people wanted to celebrate the Irish. And so that's kind of when the parade started to show their support of the Irish people. At least from what I've read. I wasn't there. I couldn't tell you for sure. One more little tidbit about St. Patrick. We celebrate St. Patrick on March the 17th, not to commemorate his birth, but it's actually to commemorate his death. So there are our onions. These last few are a little thick. That's all right. I'm not going to worry about it. Let's go ahead and chop up our parsley. It says to mince it fine. I'm not going to be fussy with it. I seriously doubt those ladies of old were very fussy with theirs. I'm just cutting out the big stems. And then we'll just mince up these leaves. All right. Now, I'm going to put these in two separate bowls. 1, 2, 1, 2. There we go. We can use this leftover parsley for garnishing later. Right. We're going to mash our garlic cloves. This makes it easier to peel, and we've got to chop them up anyway, so that's just fine that they're crushed. See? Just like that. I don't know why that won't focus. Okay, now that we have all of those ingredients prepped, we're going to, forgot to take my glasses off, we're going to cook our bacon. I've got the pan heating. We're going to do everything else in this pan. I said everything else, but I forgot the potatoes. But I didn't want to do the potatoes until we're closer to ready to put them into the pan, because I don't want them to turn brown. Who wants a brown potato? Now, we all know I have to have an apron, especially for this. This bacon's going to go to popping, and I don't want to make a mess on my clothes. Okay, to do this, we only want 8 pieces of bacon. I mean, I guess you could do more, but... just get it good and crisp. You don't want limp bacon. While this is cooking, let me just say that in the old recipes, the ingredients would not be cooked beforehand. You can just put this all in the pot, throw it in the oven, and done. Easy, huh? I like that. But I guess we kind of are fussy about the color of our food in our pans. So, you got time? Why not? Well, this recipe said only 8 slices of thick cut bacon. But y'all, it only left 3 slices in my bag of bacon. Who in their right mind is going to leave 3 slices of bacon? What am I going to do with 3 slices of bacon? Put them in my dish. So we're just going to go ahead and fry up the rest of it. While that bacon is finishing up, I'm also working on the potatoes. And I'm doing kind of larger chunks. Well, a lot about that one, but larger chunks. This is going to cook at least 2 hours in the oven, so we're not worried about those potatoes being done or not being done. Okay, this bacon is almost finished, and what we'll do is just leave this grease, and then we'll put the sausages right in here, not to cook them, but just to add a little bit of color. Again, if you don't want to, you don't have time, that's perfectly fine. Just, you can leave them whole, or you can cut them into bite-sized pieces, either way. I didn't know y'all were still recording. I'm going to go ahead and throw in a couple of sausages. Just a few minutes on each side, remember, just to get a little bit of color on them. Let's set the oven for 300 degrees. Potatoes are done. We're almost ready. Okay, this sausage has color on both sides. Nowhere near done. We're just going to take it and sit it right over here with the bacon. Almost forgot about this slice. All right, I'm going to chop up the bacon and let these 2 sausages finish. It won't take but just a second. Okay, we have the pan on low, and I'm going to whisk in the flour, and we'll cook it for about 2 minutes. All right, we've taken this off of the heat completely, and I'm going to whisk in a bottle of Guinness. Okay, let's add in half of the potatoes right into this gravy. Half of the onions. Okay, then we need half of the garlic. Half of the bacon. Half of the sausages. My hands are greasy. I can't hold on to the tongs. Alrighty. Half of the parsley. So it'll be this whole bowl because I've already divided it. There we go. Let me rinse my hand off and we'll finish. Okay, we need to add in our 3 bay leaves. Don't forget to take those out before you eat it. We need 1 teaspoon of thyme. Then we'll sprinkle it with a little bit of pepper. repeat the layers with the bacon, the sausage, the onion, potatoes, garlic, and parsley. And that's it. Hold on. There's the potatoes. Let's do the onions. Bacon. Oil. There's the bacon. And sausages. Oh, I forgot the garlic, didn't I? Parsley. And that's it, y'all. Now we put it in the oven for 2 hours. We squish down just a little bit. It fits. It works. Okay, y'all. Now, our Dublin Coddle is just about done. But y'all, what is this wonderful stew meal? I don't really know what to call it. Coddle. What good would it be if we didn't have bread with it? And what better bread to make than Irish soda bread? Yes, traditionally this bread should never have been kneaded. The recipe we're using today is a no-knead recipe. It should be a shaggy dough, and it should be just thick enough to not completely make a blob. And in order for it to be a light and fluffy bread, let's hope, because you know me and bread, you're not supposed to stir it too much. So the first thing I need to do is measure out my flour. We're going to use 15 ounces of flour, and I think it was 18 ounces of buttermilk that has been well shaken. I'll check that recipe and make sure I'm giving you the right measurements. Okay, y'all. Just trying to get y'all turned where you can see. The timer has gone off. Now, it's been 2 hours, actually a little over 2 hours, and we're going to go ahead and take this out, but we're not going to look at it just yet. I know I really want to also, because nobody is home. It's just me. So we're going to take this out and mix up our bread, and when we take this out, we're going to bump the temp up to 450. Ugh. Oh my goodness, that's heavy. Okay, so let's leave that there. Bake 450, and we need that so we can get a good crisp crust on our bread. Okay, now let's get started on this bread. Let me turn y'all around. Okay, I've got, excuse all my papers everywhere, it's my recipes. Now, I'm going to measure out 18 ounces of this buttermilk. Maybe my scale will turn on. It should be about 2 1/4 cup. Whoa, Hoss. 18. That should be 16, 2 ounces. Oh, now for this we have 15 ounces of the all-purpose flour that we've already measured out. And this recipe is specifically called for gold medal, so I went ahead and went with gold medal since I had it. If you don't have it, don't worry about it. Just some all-purpose flour. Then 1 3/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. If you don't have kosher salt and you just have regular table salt, reduce that by half as much. And then 1 1/8 teaspoon of baking soda, and the 18 ounces of buttermilk. And that's it, y'all. Y'all ready to mix it up? Okay, the first thing we want to do is to take the salt and the baking soda and just pour those right into there. Okay. Just whisk those. Get this really well incorporated because we don't want to stir this a lot once we put the milk in. It's kind of like biscuits. You don't want to work those a whole lot so they'll be light and fluffy. So, just pour this in, mix it up, just until you see no more ribbons of flour. And remember, we're not going to need, I can't talk. We're not going to need this. Let me get a spoon or a spatula. I just so happen to have one handy. Trying to keep this video as short as I can, so I'm not going to leave you here while I mix this up. I'll bring you right back. Remember, just till it's good and mixed. Okay, y'all, we're almost all mixed. I see a little bit of dry flour, especially on the bottom, so make sure you're getting the bottom. But this reminds me so much of biscuit dough. And remember, your leavening agent is the buttermilk and the what's that called? The baking soda. Just like biscuits, don't mix too much. It's kind of hard not to when you're in this little bitty bowl. Okay, I think we got, nope, there's some more dry flour. All right, now I don't have another Dutch oven, so I took a cast iron, this is a 10-inch, and put parchment paper over it. And I'm just going to pour this in. Oh, hot dog, there's more dry flour. What in the world? Okay, y'all, we're just going to hope for the best. I've never made this before. I'm not Irish. Not a lot of practice here. This was biscuits. I'd have been doing it by hand, not this crazy bowl. So we want to try to make as much of a round shape as we can. Use your spatula for this. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is a rustic bread. I know y'all can't see a thing. Let me pick y'all up. Okay, so see we have sort of a round shape. Now we're going to take a really sharp knife and make a cross in it. Wipe between each cut. Okay. Cross this way. All right, and then we're going to, hold on, now we're going to use the second skillet as a type of lid. It's bigger than this bottom pan, so I'm going to be very careful. All right, into the oven we go. Let's see for how long. 45 minutes. We'll be right back. Remember, don't waste the waiting. Go ahead and get everything clean. Okay, our timer went off. Just going to take the lid off. Yo, it's hot. Oh, that's already pretty. Let me bump the temperature down. Let me show you what it looks like. Give it just a few more minutes. I don't want that side to burn. I'm going to turn it around. Okay, y'all, it's getting really brown, so I'm going to make the judgment to go ahead and pull it out. Is that not pretty? Or what? Let's take it out and we're going to put it on this cooling rack. Oh, that is so, so pretty. Now, all we have to do is wait on the family to get home. I wish they'd hurry up. I just want y'all to look at this. Does that not look amazing? I cannot wait to eat. So there you have it, you guys. We have our Dublin Coddle and our Irish soda bread. You guys, thank you so much for spending the day with me. I hope you've been inspired. I hope maybe you learned a little something. And I hope you get to try this recipe. You guys, you know I love it when you come and spend a few minutes with me. So until we meet again, love you guys. May you be blessed. See you next time. Okay, y'all, it's time to eat. Oh my goodness, I just cut the bread and tasted it. It is almost undone, not undone, on the raw side, but it's okay. If I hadn't had that cast iron skillet on top, it probably would have been fine, but it was getting too done. So I'll know that next time, but it is delicious, y'all. Yum. So good. So there we go. Okay, one more thing and then I'm gone for real. Y'all, this is so good. That bay is coming through. The spices, the potatoes are so tender. You can taste that bacon in there. Oh, yum. Y'all, please go make this.